Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Muphidaht and I would like it if you click down below to subscribe to my channel. So we have a little bit of a different setup right here. I'm just playing around in my room to see where I want to do my new setup because I just want to switch things up. And as you can see in the background, my YouTube plaque is being displayed. I'm so excited. I literally felt like so happy when I received it. I didn't ever think I was ever going to receive it. Like, I don't know why I was being so negative, but I did, and I'm so happy that I finally gotten it. So today we are going to be doing a beginner friendly tutorial how to apply makeup flawlessly. If you want to see how this video goes down, carry on watching and let's get right into it. If you're gonna start doing your makeup, you want to make sure that your skin is moisturized regardless of what your skin type is. I have oily combination skin, and I realized that when my skin is well moisturized, my makeup just goes on very smoothly and it just applies flawlessly. If your skin is oily, combination dry, you want to make sure that you are moisturizing your skin so that your skin doesn't get patched and ends up overcompensating with oil or breaking apart. Also, if you have dry skin, you realize that if you do not moisturize your skin just gets really flaky and the makeup just starts breaking apart. So you want to make sure that you are moisturizing your skin. Personally, I love to use the liquid gold moisturizer. It's a little bit on the heavier side. It's a ceramide rich moisturizer, which I love. My skin loves it as well. I just use a pea-sized amount to moisturize my skin, so my skin is very well moisturized. Also, you want to make sure that you are moisturizing your lips as well so that your lips are not dry and cracked and flaky and ashy. You want to make sure that your lip product is applied flawlessly and it just sits on your lips very nicely. Once that you have moisturized your skin and that's gotten out of the way, you want to make sure that you are priming your skin. A primer essentially just creates a barrier between your skin and the makeup. It also enhances the application of the makeup. Regardless of what skin type you have, you need to apply primer. There's so many primers on the market. I have oily combination skin and I find that the Milk Hydro Grip primer works so well for my skin. There are other primers that are matte, they are blurring primers, they are pore filling primers. So whichever primer that you feel that is going to work with your skin, you want to go ahead and gravitate towards that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my Milk Hydro Grip primer. I went ahead to just, conceal under my brows and get them out of the way. What I'm gonna do next is to apply my foundation. So when it comes to foundation application, it depends on what your skin type is. Again, the foundation is literally the foundation of your makeup. You have to be really attentive to the kind of products that you use to apply and the kind of foundation that you use. Again, you want to pay attention to your skin type. I have oily combination skin, so I always gravitate towards foundations that are matte, that are oil free, that will make my skin produce more oil. That is why you always have to moisturize your skin, because if you do not moisturize your skin is gonna overcompensate with oil. Because personally, I like to moisturize very well and use matte products on top so that my skin doesn't get patched, because that's what oily skin does. I realize that that's what happens to my skin. With dry skin, I always like to use extra moisturizing moisturizers. Sometimes I top it off with an oil, like a facial oil, very lightly, and I use a hydrating or glowy foundation for my dry clients. But personally, like I said, I always love using matte foundations. I also have hyperpigmentation on my skin. Most days I gravitate towards full coverage foundations, so it depends on you. If you want a light coverage or a full coverage foundation, you can go ahead and choose whichever. There are so many foundations on the market. So today I'm gonna be using my Huda Beauty Full Filter foundation. This foundation is full coverage, this foundation is matte, it's also oil free. So as you can see, I have hyperpigmentation on my skin, so I love to cover all those. For foundation, I like to apply it with a brush. I'm a brush girl. You can choose to apply your foundation with a sponge, a damp sponge, but I love to go in with a brush to apply and blend in my foundation, and I love to go in with a sponge just to pick up any excess products. I realize that this gives me the most flawless base. You can also just pick one, whichever you're comfortable with. Personally, I realize that I get a flawless base whenever I use a brush and a sponge. For foundation application, I usually just put about 2 pumps of foundation at the back of my hand, and then I usually just go in with a small brush. I dip it into the foundation and I just, you know, apply it on my face. Now for foundations, like I said, actually you want to go in with foundation that works with your skin type. You want to also go in with a foundation that is your skin tone. I have a video on how to find the right foundation for your skin tone. As you can see, I have a warm undertone. I also have a video on that, how to figure out if you have a warm or cool undertone. So you want to make sure that your foundation matches your skin. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and blend out the foundation on my skin. I'm using my Real Techniques buffing brush, so I'm gonna use that to buff the foundation into my skin. Also, if you are working with a matte foundation, you don't want to sit too long with the product on your face. You want to make sure that you are blending it out as soon as you apply it, because if you don't, it's gonna be very difficult to blend out and your makeup is gonna be very patchy, which you do not want. Like I said, foundation is literally the foundation of your makeup, so you're going to be applying more and more products on it, so you want to make sure that your foundation is right with your skin. As you can see, it looks very seamless, but I still have a little bit of hyperpigmentation peeking through my skin, so I'm going to go ahead with a little bit of the foundation at the back of my hand, and I'm going to go over those areas where I need a little bit more coverage. If you have way too much foundation on your skin, your makeup is gonna be very cakey, because foundation is essentially not going to be absorbed into your skin. It's not like skincare. Foundation and makeup is essentially just sitting on your skin, and you want to make sure that you are not piling way too much product on your skin. Otherwise, it's gonna be piles and piles and piles on your skin, and it's gonna be really cakey, which you do not want. This brush is an affordable brush and it works so well. It is the Real Techniques buffing brush. So as you can see, my skin is nice and seamless, and I just love the coverage of this foundation. I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender. I'm gonna go in and blend into my skin some more. You just want to pounce the beauty blender all over your skin just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. Personally, this is what I do to get a flawless base. I have oily skin. I don't want to have way too much products, otherwise it's gonna slip and slide. Also, it's really hot these days, so doing this step really helps my makeup to sit on my skin very well. Also, I'm sitting by the window. I have a couple of birds outside just chipping into my video, so I'm sorry if that's a little bit distracting. Just focus on me. So guys, we're gonna go on to the next step. Now I have essentially perfected my skin with the foundation. My skin looks uniform. All the hyperpigmentation on my face is mostly covered up, so you want to go back and bring some light and dimension, some shadows onto the face. So the next step is contouring, concealing and highlighting. So we're gonna start off with contouring. When it comes to contouring, I personally like the Huda Beauty Tantour cream contour product. Using a contour brings back shadows onto your skin. It brings back dimension onto your skin. I'm going to show you guys how to easily contour your skin. When it comes to contouring your skin, you can use a cream foundation, you can use a powder, you can use a cream contouring product, or even a darker concealer. But what you should know is that it has to be 2 to 3 shades darker than your actual skin tone to actually create shadows on your skin. So that's what you need to know. I'm going to use this one. As you can see, it is a little bit darker than my actual skin tone. This is actually probably 3 shades darker than me, so I'm gonna go ahead and place it on my cheekbones just like so. I'm gonna do same to this side. I'm also going to go ahead and contour my forehead. Also, you want to place a little bit of product on your chin and jawline, just a little bit. You don't want to go too crazy on your jawline, otherwise blending it out, especially this product, it can get really muddy very quickly. So this essentially is where to place your contour products. I'm gonna go ahead and blend out my contour. I'm gonna be using my color box brush. This is the CB16 brush. You can use any brush that is slightly slanted this way. It has a slant to it. This helps you to contour properly. If you place the brush here like so, it just makes it easier to blend out the product. I also have a brush from Real Techniques. This is the sculpting brush. It looks like this. As you can see, again, it is slanted and it just gives you a very nice blend. I'm gonna go ahead and just blend out the product. For the forehead, you want to blend it into your hairline so that it doesn't look like you're wearing a mask. And for your cheekbones, you essentially just, you know, want to make the product stay exactly where you put it. And for the jawline, you just want to blend it upwards like so. Make sure that you are blending the products very well, guys, otherwise you're gonna have like a muddy look and it's not flattering at all. As you can see, we have created shadows on the skin. There's a little bit of dimension going on. We have a little bit of a sculpt going on, and that's essentially how to achieve it. You need a product that is 2 to 3 shades darker than you. You can use a cream product or a powder product, but if you are using a powder product, you want to make sure that you are using it after you have set your face, because placing powder and then placing a cream on it afterwards is going to make everything look muddy, so you want to avoid that. So when it comes to concealing and highlighting, essentially you want to highlight points that attract light onto your face, and you want to make sure that those points are accentuated. So I love to use a concealer, a cream concealer. This concealer is from Too Faced. It's the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. And when you are picking up a concealer for highlighting or concealing, you want to make sure that the concealer is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your actual skin tone. So comparing this concealer is 2 to 3 shades lighter than my skin tone. You don't want to use a concealer that is way too light, otherwise you're gonna appear looking a little bit ashy. There's a trend that's going on that has like a little bit of a very highlighted under eye. I'm gonna show you guys that is in another tutorial for my advanced beginners who want to have the, you know, snatched look. So what you want to do is place it under your eye and place it right here. This is gonna conceal your under eye and give you a little bit of a lift. I'm gonna show you guys how to blend it out to, you know, achieve that look. When I say concealing and highlighting, I feel like I need to explain a little bit more. Highlighting is bringing light back into your face to accentuate essentially where the light hits your face. But concealing, you know, I have dark under eyes, and you know, when I apply the concealer there, it covers it up. That's essentially concealing. So I conceal this part of my face too. I have a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow going on there, like the mustache area. So this is essentially concealing that portion. So for the bridge of my nose, I am highlighting there as well. I just want to have that highlighted look going on there. And for my chin as well, I just place a little bit of the product there, and that's about it for highlighting. Personally, I love to use brushes to blend out my highlights. I love brushes because they give me the coverage that I need. Today, I'm going to be using my sponge. I'm going to show you guys how to use a sponge just to blend out your under eye, because almost all my tutorials I use a brush. I feel like maybe some people do not get it. Some people don't have the brush to, you know, blend out their under eye. They just have a sponge. My sponge is damp, meaning that I made it extremely wet. I squeezed out all the water and I squeezed out the excess water into a paper towel. You don't want to have a wet sponge, otherwise what is going to happen is if you blend out the products on your skin, it is going to, you know, lift the products off your skin, and you do not want that. So what we are going to do now is blend this out. I like to leave what's under my eye to, you know, just get a little bit thicker, so that gives me the coverage that I need. So I'm going to blend out what's on my forehead. You want to make sure that you keep the product right where you applied it, especially if you have a little bit of a forehead like me. You don't want to make your forehead look bigger than it already is. I'm gonna go ahead and pinch my sponge and just blend out what's on my nose. I'm also going to go ahead and blend out what's here and then what's under my eye. So when it comes to what's over here, you want to blend it into your hairline to create a lift. When you are blending it out, you want to look up so that you are blending so flawlessly. You are getting under the under eye area. You want to make sure that the creases by your nose are very well blended out so that you don't have product sitting there, because it's going to look cakey. Like I said, makeup doesn't get absorbed into your skin. It essentially sits on your skin. So when it comes to blending, it's really important that you blend it out very well. So what I'm going to do is go over my eyelids with my sponge and just, you know, blend it out as well, because I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation pigmentation on my eyelids, and essentially I am concealing them because I'm gonna be applying eyeshadow a little bit later. So you want to do the same for this side. Blend it upwards to create a lift. Make sure that you're blending the sides of your nose. Look up and push the product under your eye, and then you want to go over your eyelids. Now that's about it. I'm gonna go back in with my brush that I used to apply my contour, and I'm going to go ahead and blend my temples and my cheekbones. I also like to go into my forehead because there's a little bit of a harsh line there, so you want to smoothen out any harsh lines. So as you can see, my face is nice and seamless, and this is how, you know, it goes. So I'm gonna go on to the next step. The next step of the makeup routine is setting. You need to set every cream and liquid products that you put on your face, especially if you have oily skin, especially if the weather is hot. You want to make sure that the product is not sliding and slipping on your face. So what you need to do is to use a powder. I'm gonna be using my Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder in the shade Blondie. This powder is lighter than my skin tone because I want to be able to maintain my under eye highlights. Wherever I highlighted, I want to be able to maintain that. If you go ahead and use a loose powder, but the loose powder is darker than you, you're gonna be losing your highlights. What was the point of literally using a lighter concealer, right? So what you need to do is to use a lighter powder. You can use a translucent powder also. This powder is really great. As you can see, it has a little bit of a golden undertone to it. So what I'm gonna do is to take my sponge. I like to just, you know, go back in with my sponge and blend out any creases under my eyes. I am prone to creasing under my eyes, so I realized that doing this step is really important to having a very smooth base. So what I like to do now is to go in with a paper towel. I just squeeze off any excess product into my tissue, and as you can see, there's a lot of excess product there. I'm gonna go ahead and put my beauty blender into my powder, dab off any excess, and I'm gonna push it under my eyes and over my eyelids just to set the product. What you need to do is to not go straight ahead and bake. That also causes a lot of creasing. So you want to push a little bit of powder just to set the product before you bake if you want to bake. I am a huge fan of baking, but I only bake when I'm going to do my eyeshadow because it also catches fallout. What you want to do is to push the powder into wherever you applied the lighter concealer. Also, if you have dry skin, you need to avoid baking. What you need to do is just push the powder into your skin and just make sure that it has set the cream product, and that's what you literally need to do. I also love pushing products around my brows because that area gets a little bit oily on me, and I personally do not like that. After I have set wherever I applied my lighter concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and use a pressed powder to set my entire face. I'm suggesting you use a pressed powder that is your skin tone or very close to your skin tone to set the rest of your face. As you can see, this is my Sephora Micro Smooth powder. This powder is very close to my skin tone, just like my foundation. So essentially, I'm just using this to set my foundation all over my face. You can actually skip this step. You don't need to do this step. So you need a dense fluffy brush like this. You're going to dip into your powder and you're just going to go over your face very lightly. Some foundations are self-setting, such that when you apply them, they set and you do not need to use a powder to set them in place. But if you have oily skin, I always suggest that you set your foundation with powder regardless, because your face is gonna get oily and it's gonna slip and slide, and the powder just prevents that from happening for a little bit. It also prevents your makeup from breaking up. What you want to do is bring back some warmth onto your face, because essentially my face looks a little bit ashy. So to bring back some warmth, you need a bronzer. Personally, I love to use a bronzer that is 2 to 3 shades darker than my skin tone, and that is what you should gravitate towards, something that is 2 to 3 shades darker than your skin tone, and it also should have an amount of warmth in it, in that it just brings back some warmth onto your face. It gives you the sun-kissed look. And this is my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Coco Naughty. This this is what I'm going to be using to bronze my face. For bronzing the face, you want to use a fluffy brush like this one. This is my Morphe M527 brush. You want to just dip your brush into your bronzer, tap off any excesses, and you want to make a fish face, and you want to draw threes at the sides of your face from your hairline and the cheekbone area, and you want to bring it down to your chin, just like so. So essentially you are putting it on your cream contour where you applied your cream contour. So as you can see, there's more warmth on this side of my face, so I'm gonna do the same to this side. In your hairline, cheekbones, the jawline area, 1 2 3, just like so. And there you have it. You don't need a lot of bronzer, otherwise you're gonna look really muddy. You want to avoid using too much bronzer. I personally like to contour my nose. You don't need to contour your nose, guys. It's really unnecessary. I love to use my bronzer to contour my nose, and I also like to use a slanted brush. So what I'm gonna do is to dip into my bronzer, and I'm gonna tap off any excesses. I am going to contour from the bottom part of my eyebrows, and I'm going to bring it downwards. So just down the sides of the bridge of my nose, and that's about it for how I contour my nose. I don't do much, but what I like to do is to go back in with my setting powder. This is just an extra step. Honestly, it's very unnecessary. I just like to go into my setting powder, and I just like to clean up just my nose contour, and then I go back in with my brush and just, you know, do this, and that's how I clean up my nose contour. I'm just gonna let the powder sit there for a bit. I will clean it up, of course. Okay guys, so I am back. I did my eyebrows and my eye makeup. Very simple. We're gonna go into the next step. These steps, I do not consider them essentials because they are just dazzling the face. This is the blush application and the highlighter application. I'm just gonna show you guys how to apply the blush. Essentially, the blush is to just bring a little bit of color, a little bit of flush onto the face. I am going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Cheek to Chic Intense blush. This blush has a very nice pink / plum undertone to it, and I really love how it looks. You can use a orange blush, a pink blush, whichever blush that you feel like using, but I'm going to use the same brush that I used to apply my bronzer to apply my blush. I'm just going to swish my brush in here, and I'm going to tap off any excesses, and you want to apply your blush on the apples of your cheeks. So what you want to do is to smile and then place it up. You don't want to apply it right here like this whole part. No, you want to apply it from the apples of your cheeks upwards, just like so. So as you can see, the blush brings a little bit more fullness. It also lifts the face up slightly, and it just looks really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply my blush here as well. You want to tap off the excess with blush. You don't want to use too much blush, otherwise you're gonna look like a clown, and you don't want to look like that. So right here, my brush keeps shedding. I do not know why. So for highlighter, I'm gonna apply it right where the light hits, as you can see, just on my cheekbones. So when applying highlighter, you don't want to use a very dense brush. You want to use a brush that is fluffy, flexible, like so. So I'm gonna go into my Charlotte Tilbury Nude Gasm face palette, and I'm gonna go into these two shades right here, and I'm gonna dip my brush into it. You always want to tap off the excess when it comes to highlighter, and you want to start off just right here, like so. You want to bring it onto your brow bone as well, so like a C. So you want to do the same for the other side. So I'm going to be applying a little bit of highlighter onto the bridge of my nose and my inner corners. I personally love to apply highlighter there. I'm going to use a fluffy brush, a smaller brush, and I'm going to apply that onto the bridge of my nose. You want to make a tiny exclamation mark, just like so. And I'm going to apply into my inner corners just to open up my eyes a little bit. So the next step is to set your entire face. I'm going to go ahead and use my Pixie Makeup Fixing Mist. So what you want to do is just spritz it Alright guys, so this brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. Do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Everything that I use will be listed down below in the description box. I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care guys. Bye.